Oh, okay. So I come from Bible Belt, BC, a little town called Chilliwack. Very conservative, very right wing, very homophobic when I was growing up. Um, and yeah, my older sister came out in the '80s, and it was pretty brutal for her. And I, in making this movie, a lot of my experience in small town, you know, BC, has led me to a place of wanting teenagers to feel included. And so it was a very different process for Mikhail, my beautiful human. So when we started filming, I wrote this film with Mikhail in mind. It was based on some of the experiences that he was having at school. And yes, I said Mikhail came out as trans while we were filming. It was pretty challenging for him and for us, and with COVID. But I think he did an incredible job, and gives a really powerful portrayal of Kat. So when I initially wrote the film, Mikhail was this was before Mikhail transitioned. So um, we wrote a I wrote a lit sorry. It's a big question. So I basically wrote a lesbian love triangle film, and then when we started shooting, um, March 9th, 2020. So a lot was happening. It was just before COVID lockdown. Very tense time. Mikhail came out as trans, and we had it was quite challenging to let people on set know that yes, he's playing a girl. You met him when he was identifying as a girl, and now he's he him. So it was challenging for everyone, particularly Mikhail, who was a real trooper, I have to say. Um, so all trans people, or from what I've researched and had discussions with other trans folk, uh, they really don't love to see representations of themselves as their designated at birth um, sex. So it's difficult for Mikhail to watch the film, um, but he really gave it his all. Um, you'll see he gives a stunning performance. Super talented kid. I've always called him my beautiful human. So my beautiful human was very beautiful in this story. It was definitely an active choice to not make it a coming out movie. So it's an urban center. It's an art school. Mikhail pointed out to me that people don't really come out. It's not like a big thing. It's just like, oh, they're non-binary. He's queer. She's queer. It's just you know it's just a fact. And obviously there are issues anywhere, and you do have the transphobic or homophobic people at any school. But I would say, compared to like what my sister went through coming out in the '80s, in a small redneck town, it's a very different experience. And I really wanted to portray like an authentic high school experience in this day and age. And also, there are lots of queer kids out there who have very conservative families, or they're in conservative schools, who will see this, could watch this with their families and say it's a beautiful, natural thing. And like what we're focusing on is the love story and finding yourself and exploring your passion. And relationships are awkward whether they're gay or straight. And it's like people, it's about people. And yeah. Well, my first feature was also a musical. Mikhail is also in that one. Music's a big part of my life, a big part of Mikhail's life. And Toronto, the film's very, very showcases Toronto. And the difference between Toronto and where I'm from, I spent most of my time in Vancouver. Um, Before this, in my other life. Actually, I've been here since 2004. Never mind. But music in Toronto is huge. There's like amazing communities. You go to parties and everyone starts jamming, and I really felt like Stupid for You needed that vibrancy of music. And my co-composers, Tim Cameron and Asher Ettinger, I've been working with these guys forever. They just bring their A game every time. And the story really was a story about, well, obviously, my character Danny is this ex punk rocker. She had this amazing band that was famous for a half a minute. And her her child Kat is also a musician and a singer, and has her own little punk thing going. So it's a lot about the mother child relationship, and the mom trying to say, hey, what happened to me isn't going to happen to you. You're going to be amazing. You've been raised with so much a much healthier much healthier way to be raised, with where you can be whoever you want. But of course, Kat has all the insecurities that a teenager has, and all the awkward moments. Um, yeah, music gives energy to anything. And the whole crew was uplifted when we were doing the musical numbers. And then for the soundtrack, we had this amazing band, that Moscow Apartment, actually high school students at the same high school that Mikhail went to. So there's a big combination of original songs by myself, Mikhail, Asher, and TC, and then the other cool soundtrack songs. So both Kat and Danny have performance anxiety, and I would say that comes from a very real place. I'm experiencing it right now, but there's something about performance anxiety that is horrifying. But it also, I've spoken to a lot of artists, musicians, and actors, and it does tend to kind of feed your performance, because you have that, it's almost like fight or flight, but it's those butterflies that gives you that energy, that aliveness. But it can be crippling if you have to get up on stage. And I think for a teenager, like a fairly introverted teenager, which I would say Mikhail is fairly introverted, getting up and singing is a very vulnerable thing to do, right? And if you're ridiculed, or people are just not paying attention, or something, it can just be like the worst. So I gave that to Danny, and I gave that to Kat, and I think it's powerful in that, you know, everyone, when you're young, you have these dreams and you try to meet them. And in Danny's case, she gave it her all and then she failed spectacularly on stage. Like she had the dysfunctional boyfriend who undermined her, gaslit her, the usual. And Kat has seen Danny fail and she's seen Danny become this kind of ordinary person working at a computer store. No relation to my real life. Would you like fries with that Macintosh? Um, but yeah, so it was definitely fed by my own experience with stage anxiety and also Mikhail's. Yeah, so very important. I mean, if you have the luxury of having actual musicians and actual queer people playing queer people, um, that's the best case scenario. Uh, we didn't do, if we had done this film as a union shoot, I don't know if I can talk about this, but we wouldn't have had the freedom that we had with our cast. I think we found some like amazing people, and the chemistry between the three teens is just fantastic. Um, Mia is Mikhail's real life best friend, um, and she just really brought it. I mean, I think everyone's falls in love with Stevie during the filming, and Kaylin. The three of them just connected instantly in the audition, um, and it was just yeah, a beautiful thing. And having the real musicians, of course. I mean, you don't want people doing like miming that they're playing instruments or have someone else singing for the singers. I mean, there's so much emotion and there's so much richness to the music, and having actual singers performing them, it's, I don't know, I think it's essential, like for me. Hello and welcome to the set of Stupid for You and my kitchen. This kitchen has been in two of my features, my only two features. This is a new cat though. This is Oscar. So yeah, we shot quite a few scenes in this room. Kat and Stevie at the kitchen table, of course. Danny was over at the stove cooking. This, of course, is a polyamorous diatribe poster with Sid blocked out still. This is a bit of a museum of my filmmaking. So there's a Love in the Six postcard, and there is some footage from this film that was shot in Berlin. So that's in the big bring back footage. Yeah, so this was a big part of our script because there was a lot going on with Danny and Kat at home, of course. This is the hallway where Danny found all the post-it notes. Okay, want to follow me into the other rooms? And this, of course, is the bedroom, and a lot of action happened here in the film. Just the film. Okay. Yeah, so I've used my own house in both of my features, and yeah, the price was right. It's a tiny room, but we managed to pack in a lot. This is where I get really disgusted with the sheets because didn't have the best date. I mean, Danny never has the best date, so yeah, you may remember this from the movie where I'm ripping off the sheets. Storming out. This is the location of our amazing spring fling that Ellie Thompson, our set designer, production designer, costume designer, made into this incredibly magical location. The walls had the black and white blown up photos of polyamorous diatribe, allegedly taken in the 90s. This is the door that Mikhail, our cat, stormed out of. And of course the stage where Memory Hole and Polyamorous Diatribe played. Very dramatic moment happened here when we were shut down the first time on March 17th. We decided to cease filming because the province was in a state of emergency. Well, the world was in a state of emergency for COVID, so very emotional. When we came back in October, actually a year ago today, pretty close, and we set this space up for the prom. It was just incredible. It was so gorgeous. And we had 3 cameras rolling, and we had to be very organized with our extras because of COVID restrictions, of course. But we really made it feel, well, my team made it feel like this was a completely crammed prom scene. And the band's 6 Million Reasons, when Mikhail and Mia were performing that song, it was just unbelievable. So this was our space. This is what Ellie started with, and she really turned it into perfection. So this is where we shot the 90s video for the band Polyamorous Diatribe, their hit single, He's Theoretically Sentient. We really wanted to get that 90s vibe. We shot on high 8. That was our cinematographer, MJD, made sure he got a high 8 camera for this. And we shot it 2 weeks before we actually started principal photography. So it was really great. Everyone, the band came out. We had Lily Frost walking her bandmate on a leash. It was very cool. So we played the song over and over again in this spot, and people stopped and were applauding and like really getting into it. And it's such an authentic Toronto experience, like in front of the Food Basics and Gerrard Square. We have this epic plank gangway. Fuck. You know what I mean. What do you call those things, Brett? Walkway. We have this iconic walkway, and it was very cold. It was February 2020. We had no idea what was to come, but it was very cold, but a very fun day, a really lively shoot, and this was a great location. Whew. This feels very much like filming because we were very cold. This is the skating rink where Eden and Stevie have their big encounter, where Stevie finds out Eden's secret. We managed to wrap all of our shots right as our permit was pulled for COVID. So we got very lucky.